guys that got Mike from Peterson Seed, he was nice enough to give me a little bit of field tour around here and ask. I'm just going nuts here off camera, but because this is super cool. So he's given us some tours around on some of the basics around the company and some of the fun stuff they're doing. So he'll walk us through a few little things that they got going on.
Women in agriculture is called Common Ground, and their mission is to educate non-rural people in where the food comes from and how it's
Sure.
thing about it. So
Yep.
this will be, I think, the 4th or 5th year coming up, or 2 weeks from now. They actually have a banquet in the field.
Cool.
White linen. It's all great stuff, and I've never actually been to it.
Yeah.
But I'm part of it here.
Sure.
So what we have in North Dakota, there's several different commodity groups. We have soybeans, spring wheat, so that's durum, barley, spring wheat, pinto beans, canola, flax.
That's canola.
This is canola. Yep, it's not mustard. It's canola. Yeah.
We call that yellow rocket back home.
Oh, really?
My hay field is covered. My new seeding alfalfa is covered with this. We're going to talk off camera about this because I got some questions.
Okay.
But that, I finally got an identification of that. That is awesome.
So then we have flax here.
That's flax, okay.
These are pinto beans. Sugar beets.
Sugar beets.
Sunflower.
Sunflowers.
And spuds.
Potatoes.
Yep.
That's
They're kind of wimpy here, but
this is the awesome part about North Dakota is your guys' diversity out here is fantastic.
it is.
I love coming out. People are always like, well, why would you go to North Dakota? I'm like, you know what? Look at the diversity of crops that you guys get to grow, and you don't even have all your cereal rye represented here.
No.
And the farmer's mentality out here is just awesome. The state just loves farming. You go to the Twin Cities area and the state hates you.
Oh, yeah.
So, yellow dent corn.
So this is the ancient Mexican teosete.
Okay.
So this is the origin of corn,
Okay.
and how scientists, breeders have told me there was 2 different natural mutations that came along. That went from, this looks more like a millet when it's seeded out.
Okay.
But it does look like little chunks of corn, small little little pieces.
The corn would have been up on the tassel.
Yep. It's right
Ah.
there. No cob powder. They even talk about like when the Spanish conquistadors were down in Mexico, sitting
Yeah.
around a bonfire using this as the fuel.
Yeah.
It would pop.
Okay.
Actually startle them before they actually figured out what was going on. It was like popcorn back then. So anyway, that's that. So the summer of 1846, there was a gentleman named of Robert Reed. He moved from the very southeast corner of Ohio up to his uncle's place near Decatur, Illinois.
Okay.
Anyway, at that time, he was planting what is called Gordon Hopkins semi-gourd. It's a flesh tone. It's got a big ear on it. It's about 120-day maturity. You're starting to see the tassel coming now.
Okay.
This will grow to about 10, 12 feet tall. It's a big plant.
All
They
right.
use it for both fodder and then also the food. So we got a little late planting that year, and along with that, it was kind of like a 2009 summer of North Dakota where we had a bountiful crop of immature corn.
Oh, yes,
Long story
yes.
short, he saved what he thought was the best seed for the summer of 1847.
Okay.
Turns out he had about half a crop or less. So what do you do at that point? You can't call Peterson Farm Seed and have a seed day in an hour for a replant or whatever.
Yeah.
So he got a hold of, this is called Longfellow Flint.
Okay.
And Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, poet, academic guy from near Massachusetts, he loved the corn thing too.
Okay.
So long story short, he got hold of some of this stuff. This is like a 70-day flint corn. It's 8 around, about this long, bronzen ear. So Robert got a hold of this, interplanted with that,
Okay.
and they cross-pollinated.
Nice.
By accident, that happened, and that's what turned into yellow dense.
So he wasn't planning on it. It just
no, he just needed
dumb
to
luck.
fill.
Dumb luck.
It was act of God or whatever.
Yeah.
So this is called Reed's Yellow Dent.
Okay.
It has a huge cob on it. I've got some in my office for that. I mean, big thing. It's a big, strong plant. So that by accident, he started raising this stuff. It was all open pollinated back then. There was no hybridization. So he passed on the love of getting this better and better every year to his son, James. And in the summer of 1893, they had the World's Fair, or World's Exhibition near Chicago.
Okay.
And they had a yield contest, corn yield contest.
Oh.
And I think the average was either 23 or 27 bushel per acre back in that time frame. Anyway, James came up with 127 bushel average. It got nicknamed the World's Fair corn at that time.
Okay.
So, going back to this time when this was going on, actually, and we talked about Paul's earlier.
Yeah.
1847, 1846 is when John Deere patented the steel mold or Paul.
Okay.
I'm kind of a history buff.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that's that. You fast forward a few years down the road then, some guys out of Ohio State decided, hey, we should try pulling, because, you know, they kind of diversified a little bit, but it's still all open pollinated corn. Minnesota 13 is a famous open pollinated corn from, you know, the University of Minnesota.
Okay.
But, so they decided, let's try to pull some pollen off of this plant and get it over to the silk on the other one.
Okay.
So, but the first commercially developed hybrid, and I got a little gunny sack with that logo on it in the office, called US 13.
Okay.
And it was 25. It was a forward cross, 25% of being Reed's Yellow Dent. So that's kind of a cool story.
Yeah.
So that's that. This is just a commercial one. And I've actually got. This is the longest day corn that raised in the U.S. now. This is 127 day maturity corn, just for the fun of it.
That is a massive. Look at the stock on that thing compared to your hand.
So that's that. That's a little. So we have 3 hybrids.
So that's your 400 bushel attempt. And say that again.
Well, basically, there's 22 thousandths of an acre represented with each different. There's 5 different entries here.
Okay.
So after the 4th of July, we start feeding and watering weekly.
Okay.
The plant is set up. The population is set equidistant on a diamond shape. Everyone's got a square foot to live on.
Oh, okay.
So, like if you had a pot.
Yep.
So the population is obviously 43,560.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's been fun. This is like the 5th year. Last year I failed miserably
Okay.
because of my stand didn't come up identically.
Okay.
So I had ears. You need about an ear this big to get, even at that population, get 400.
400 bushel
So I had an
corn.
ear like this, and I had an ear like that, and next to each other, and they said, well, that hybrid sucks. Well, it's the same hybrid. It came up 2 weeks later.
Oh. So what was the best so far that you've gotten?
435.
435 out of North Dakota.
Yeah.
That's
So
pretty good.
I got some.
To scale the trucks in and out and.
It's been, this scale here is trucks in and out, has been in the past, but we are going to be adding a new scale farther out along the road. That's going to be our outgoing scale. So we have 3 processes that we run our product over. First process is an air screen machine. Separates by air, obviously, and also by a screen size. Takes out small product. And this is the first process. Once it completes its pass across this machine, it'll hit our color sorters, which they separate by color. They'll take any discolored seed or even maybe another crop that's a different color than soybeans. So we typically just set that up for a certain color of bean that we're trying to save. Anything that doesn't match that color gets kicked out. And we'll go back and look at that after a bit.
And this is doing the 1,000 bushel an hour too?
All the machines in this plant are 1,000 bushel an hour.
Wow.
And then the last process then is over our gravity tables.
Okay.
We have 2 4800 Oliver gravities and a 240 that we use on the rerun. But all 3 machines are handling 1,000 an hour.
Huh.
Packaging area is kind of in the same area. At some point we will move this into another location, but for now this is where we do our bagging and our mini bulk tote station. It's a dual tote station, so the guys can do 2 totes at the same time.
Okay.
I shouldn't say 2 at the same time, but they can alternate while they're tying one off, they're filling one. And it's all automated. They just hang the tote, hit the button, and it fills the tote exactly to the weight that we tell it to fill it to.
So when you're when we get a bag of soybean, if you're running soybeans, every single bag of soybeans comes across this little tiny.
Every bag of soybeans that we ship, sell, whatever, comes across this line.
How many bags in the season do you move?
I'm trying to think. I thought I heard 19,000 bags this year, but I could be wrong.
Wow.
And I know it was the most we've ever done again.
How long did it, like 10 seconds?
It takes probably 10 seconds to get from, once the bag drops, well, it takes probably 5 seconds to fill it. And then it drops, sows. I'd say it probably takes 20 seconds to get from filling to the pallet.
That is, that is cool.
20 to 30 seconds.
That is super cool. And then you got people stacking it on
There's two
skids?
people that'll be up there stacking, and then generally a person on the forklift taking the full stacks out and then reloading the scissor lift with another pallet. So basically, once we get going, it's nonstop. The guys just go as hard as they want to go. So
Yeah.
I think the guys have told me on a really good day, with no hiccups, they could probably do 1,500 bags in a day.
Yeah.
It seems like it's not very many, but that's a lot of bags.
It's a lot of material moved.
Anyway, these are the color sorters.
Okay.
And like I said earlier, they separate by color. And all they're doing, they're sliding down these channels in the back. And as they hit the bottom area here, there are cameras, both front and back, looking at the kernel as it goes by. And then we program the machine to recognize this is the color we want to save. Anything that's out of these parameters, kick that seed out. There's an air line that's hooked into the machine, and that air line is hooked to what they call ejectors, and it just blasts a blast of air at the kernel. So as the camera sees a bad seed, it tells the ejector to kick it out. And the grain is going through this thing so fast you can't imagine that it could even keep up. But
yeah.
It does. 1,000 bushel an hour going through these two machines in an hour. I mean, that's a lot of kernels going through.
Holy cow.
So
that's six.
There's a light bar here, which represents every channel. And anytime it sees a defective kernel or an off-color kernel, the little light will blink to let us know, okay, that's what we're kicking some out.
Okay.
So we want to see a little bit of a flickering. We don't want to see it light up like a Christmas tree.
So then it kicks the seed out and then must run down a channel somewhere else.
It'll kick the seed out to the back, and then that goes off into a separate area, and then the front part here is the clean product, and that comes back. So now what we do on these two machines, they're both 80 channels, and what we're kicking out, we're taking that product and putting it back and running it one last time through one channel on this machine and trying to pull back that occasional good one that we kick out. Because for every bad one that the camera sees, you're not going to hit it exactly. So you might kick that one out and maybe the good one that's right behind it or right in front of it.
Sure.
So we're trying to bring those back across and then trying to maybe pull those good ones back.
So you're literally getting
We're trying to get it down till we save it every good kernel we can save.
That is awesome. This is like the greatest episode of How It's Made I've ever been on.
This room is really noisy because when these machines are running, you know, and the noise is you got the vibrating conveyors up there that are feeding it, so they're kind of making some noise, but the ejectors blasting that air out, it's just a constant rattle in here. It's pretty noisy.
1,000 bushels an hour, that's 60,000 pounds an hour. Divide by 60 is what, 10,000 pounds a minute?
Well, if you figure an average seed count is 3,000 kernels to a pound.
Yeah. So now you're 180.
So now you're talking millions of seeds going by this thing that camera is just looking at.
You're just under 2 million seeds a minute going by that camera. That is cool. That is.
Final process, and these machines separate by weight again.
Okay.
So the deck is sloped downward and at an angle. We feed the machine on the high end, on the low side of the high end.
Okay.
The deck shakes sideways. It's tilted downhill, but it shakes sideways, and then there is air underneath that comes through the deck. It's a perforated deck.
Okay.
Basically what it does is it makes the product on the deck float, so as it's shaking, it's floating.
Okay.
And it causes a shaking action. So the heavy kernels, which everyone thinks should go downhill, heavy kernels go uphill.
Oh, really?
Light product goes downhill.
Huh.
So what we're seeing here is we want all the heavy product to go up into this end. All the light product goes down to the low side, and then this is our cull side. It's a very, very small percentage.
Yeah.
Everybody always thinks the opposite, that heavy should go downhill, not uphill. But
That's cool.
so this is the final process of our conditioning.
And we're still maintaining that 1,000 bushel an
1,000
hour.
bushel an hour. So 3 machines in this plant, all run off of that computer that's in the office there.
Okay.
All these machines talk to each other. So when we start up, they're all talking. So if
okay.
the tank from the air screen goes full, it warns us, it shuts off the feeder to the machine, so the machine will empty out to let everything catch up, and then it'll automatically start up again.
Okay.
So that the very first machine, the air screen, is feeding the color sorter surge tank above it. If that tank goes full, the color sorters tell the air screen, I'm full, you got to stop and give me a second to catch up, which it does, and then it'll start up again. Same with our gravity tables. If the surge tank above these tables goes full, it tells the color sorters, hey, you got to stop, let me catch up. At the same time, then that one gets full, and then it's talking to that one. So all day long, these machines are stopping and starting, talking to each other.
Sure. And then the beans are getting off of this conveyor because we were just up there for the color sorter, and it comes across. This is cool. This is cool.
In the old days, every time a bin went full with the alarm, I'd have to go close the gate and then shut the machine off manually.
Oh.
This is the warehouse. What we're standing in is warehouse 1. This is the warehouse that I started in. So 20 years ago, this was it. This was the warehouse.
This is the whole thing.
And with the old plant, it would take me all winter to fill this thing. So
Okay.
now we can fill this thing in probably 2 days.
So we're in warehouse 3.
We're in warehouse 3, and it was like, I don't even think it was 4 years later, and it's like, we need warehouse 4.
That is.
We added on another 200 feet, so.
So we're 100 by 400.
180 by 400.
180 by 400. This would be an awesome repair shop for my farm.
And we have room on that side of number 4 to go another 200 feet, and then that's it. We can't go any further. There's already so you might want to. So we do a lot of, I shouldn't say a lot, but we do some seed production for breeders and the genetics companies. So
okay.
when we're doing that, there's small amounts of the product that they have available, maybe a new line or whatever, and they need it cleaned and then sent to South America to get grown over winter production to come back in the following spring. So basically they get 2 seasons out of 1.
Okay.
So when that happens, then we'll plant the variety, we'll harvest the variety for them, and then we'll clean it over what we call our increase plant. This little bugger here is 50 bushel an hour. That's its max capacity.
But it's replacing the factory we just looked at on a miniature.
It's such a small amount of seed that we have available to clean, we can't throw it in the bigger plants because we lose too much product.
Right.
Time to
Yep.
do it. So it goes into this machine, this plant back here. Basically, it's the same equipment, just all
Miniature.
small, miniature.
That's funny.
So again, it's an air screen machine. It has what we call a spiral, which color sorters replace the spiral in some sense, but not totally. And then another gravity table, but just a small one.
Yeah. That's kind of neat.
It's not uncommon for us to harvest soybeans in the fall and then clean them and get them bagged and ship them off to South America before Christmas.
And South America is growing the seed stock.
And they're planting it, growing it over winter, and then it comes right back up to the States in the spring to get planted wherever.
By me.
Well, the equipment you see here is the equipment that used to be in the main plant 20 years ago.
Okay.
And then, 18 years ago, because it just got moved back here recently. So the plant way back when I first started, capacity, like I say, was 150 bushel an hour, and then it increased to 300 when we doubled up on the gravity tables, and then it's at a current 1,000 an hour. But we use this plant back here for stuff that's too big for the little increase plant, but still not big enough for the main plant. So this one, we may put. You got to realize 10,000 bushels may seem like a lot, but that's 1 day's cleaning up front, and then the guys have to clean the plant out.
Okay.
So if If we're doing 10,000 bushels of a variety and that's all there is, you clean for a day, but you spend many hours cleaning that plant back out to get on to the next one. So that was the purpose of this one, is to take some of the larger than the little one can handle, but too small for the big one. So
Yeah.
we could put, it's not uncommon to put 3, 4, 5,000 bushels through, or let me take that back. It's not uncommon to put maybe 20,000 bushels of a variety through this one, just to keep that one up front on the big stuff.
Sure.
Big stuff.
Because after every hybrid, like you're saying, you go from a 14.
Anytime we switch varieties, the plant has to be stripped down and cleaned.
Because you can't have contamination.
We can go between lots of varieties. As long as the variety stays the same, we can go between lots without cleaning.
Right.
But if the variety changes, we got to strip the plant down and clean out. And
So when you see your catalog of the 20 different soybean hybrids, that's 20
20
times.
separate cleanouts that the plant has to do, and that's if you're lucky. And generally, we probably do 50 to 60 cleanouts a year.
Okay.
Because we have 20 varieties maybe in the book, but we don't do the 20 just one and done. Usually we may clean them in December based on what the early sales are looking like, and then wait until middle winter and see what the sales are doing, and then come back and clean more because sales have already taken away what we did the first time.
Sure.
The thing I realize is that early in the season, any variety we clean prior to having a home for it on a dealer site has to stay here. And if it stays here, it's taking up space that I don't have. So we only clean what we can schedule to be shipped as it's clean.
Sure. The other stuff just stays in the bins outside and
So the raw
safe.
product will stay on site at the farmers until we know we have a home for it. Then we bring it in, clean it, and get it shipped right away.
Huh.
And that's the way it'll work until about maybe the middle of January, and at that point we're kind of getting caught up with our dealer orders.
Yeah.
Then we start filling bins up here, and that kind of takes us to the end of our season.
Yeah, I guess the guy never thinks about the management side of it.
There it is. You gotta be thinking 3 days ahead, so otherwise you'll paint yourself in the corner you can't get out of.
Yeah.
It happens though. No matter how well you plan, something can pop up and
Right.
regroup and start over.
Yeah, because we were looking at the number and the number of bins and the amount of capacity you have. You're not just dealing with a couple hundred me's. You're feeding several states that all have within that same 1 month of window to.
And most part, everybody knows the variety they want at harvest time.
Yeah, yep.
The farmers kind of have seen what they've been harvesting, or have talked to the neighbors. And they come to our field events, so they see what we have.
Yeah.
So they kind of know that, hey, I want to try this one this year, and then by Christmas time, the dealers have pretty
Good
idea
idea.
what they're early ordered.
You always get a few stragglers or some last minute,
There always is, yeah.
some prevent plan. You don't know what spring
But we
is.
get enough confirmed orders that
Yeah.
we can really push the main plant hard and push out as much as we can, as early as we can, and then pick up the stragglers at the end of the season.
That 5% changing is not an issue.
Not an issue, no.
Huh. Guys, that was very fun. I hope the videos turn out where it's entertaining to you guys. I enjoyed it. It was a great 2 hours for me. There was a lot I couldn't videotape. I just didn't think it would make great video, and some I couldn't tape because it's their company. They just asked like, oh, well, just not videotape this section. They're just doing the soybeans there. They don't do corn because corn is a whole another massive factory that would have to be built. But yeah, it was fun. 2 hours talking to other farmers that happen to work at a seed plant that do their best every day to create a great product. Remember, I have no affiliation with them. I am simply a customer of them. I don't know anybody there from Adam before I walked into that building. I buy some of their seed. I have a good dealer. They're just a fantastic family-orientated company that, like I said, try to do a good product. So hopefully you guys like the video. I'm learning my videoing skills. We'll get better at some point, but I hope you guys like the video. Again, as one customer to another, this is one thing I want to do on my website, and we've talked about this before, is I just want to be a resource of good products. I have good luck with my Pioneer seeds. My neighbors have good luck with their decal seeds. I am having great luck with the Peterson seeds. If you have a dealer in your area, give them a try. That's it. As just as a resource, I get no kickbacks. They didn't give me 50 bucks on the way out to try and make a video. That this is, you know, like I said, from customer to customer, that, you know, farmer to farmer. This is what my website and my YouTube page is here for, is for us to share experiences and whatnot. So yeah, great time, good people, good product. Can't wait to come back on the 6th to do the tour over again. Probably not as an in-depth and personal tour, obviously, but can't wait to do it in September when I also get a free lunch out of the deal, probably. So guys, I'm gonna pull in for some food and some fuel for the old Cummins, but I will see you guys when I get home again.